Hello, for I am the Bushwick Nerd. Today's why you should be watching is called My Hero Academia. Now, if you're a big fan of comic books, if you love Marvel style stuff, and if you also love the anime One Punch Man, this is like the greatest combination of them all. It basically takes place in a world where in China, one day some little kid, some baby was born with superpowers, and then as the years pass, every human gets a superpower, or they call it a quirk, because it's not really a superpower. It's kind of like this cute thing that you do at first, but then as you get older, it develops better and better. Very X-Men like, very Marvel Comics type deal. And we follow the story of a kid named Deku. Well, his name is Midoriya Izuku. And basically what this kid is a super normal kid. To find out if you have superpowers or not, they run this test on you, and they check the bone structure. They check the bone structure in your pinky toe, and if you have, I think if you have 3 bones in your pinky toe, like it's separated the joints, then you have a quirk. But if you don't, you don't. But most people get a quirk. So we follow the story of this kid who is in love with the greatest hero of all time, called All Might. This huge, brolic, monstrous of a man that's essentially their version of Captain America. When he's very little, to take the exam, they find out he doesn't have a quirk, except all of his friends do. So he's kind of really lonely. He spent most of the time without a quirk, just studying, dying to be a hero, and he just really wants somebody to tell him he can still be a hero without any powers. Luckily for him, one day, through a crazy amount of circumstances, he meets All Might, the huge hero himself, the guy who he used to look up to every day through the computer. And All Might tells him he can't fucking make it, he can't cut it. It breaks the boy's heart, and it's sad. And then All Might, after a villain comes and attacks one of Deku's old childhood friends, and Deku runs to him to save his friend, which is kind of his bully, but at the same time it's different. All Might sees that this kid has something, so he decides to pass on his quirk, which nobody knew that was possible, to Deku. Now, why you should watch this show? Let's see. If you had watched my other videos before and see how I am not a big fan of Naruto, I am not a big fan of like really shitty done Shonen anime, which takes 200-300 episodes or whatever. For me to suggest one is really weird, but I'm gonna be honest with you, it's that fucking good. There's just something about this show that just gets to me. And I think it's because within the first 4 episodes of the show, we see Deku without a quirk struggling. And when All Might has to train him before giving him the quirk, you see Deku bust his ass, really try, and sometimes cry an immense amount, which is actually really funny, the way that they pull off his crying. But I think the main reason why this show is worth watching is because it does characters very well. It's very well written. Deku is a guy who, even after he gets the quirk and goes through everything, he barely uses it. He uses it as his absolute last resort. He spent all the time where he didn't have a quirk studying heroes, understanding how powers work, understanding what villain does what, and understanding what could be another hero's weakness. Instead of using the power, which is called One for All, he uses his brains. So essentially he's a very smart character. He's just kind of a wussy, and that's fine. I want to believe more is that you can relate to him. If you were ever in a position which you felt like you were inadequate and everybody's better than you, and you still have to struggle every single day of your life on why are you special, why you want to be special, and why should you feel special, then this anime is great for you. On top of which, all the side characters have amazing powers to watch and look at. Especially one guy who looks like a huge raven that looks dope as fuck. There are other characters who struggle with same things. His rival, which is kind of his antagonist, is Kachan. And what's crazy is that he is that character that you expect him, that although he's a good guy, he's gonna be the villain. And for now, it doesn't seem like he generally wants to be a hero, but everything about him, his quirk, the way that he's drawn, the way that he talks, he might as well be a fucking villain. So I'm kind of waiting on that shoe to drop. But instead of focusing on let's try to make him a villain, they continue with let's try to make him a hero, but he just looks fucking weird. You know, he just looks like a villain, but he's not an actual villain. The other rival, Todoroki, who is privileged, essentially. Well, would be considered privileged. His dad is the second greatest hero of all time that uses only fire. But his mother was an ice woman, and they had like arranged marriages and shit, so they can have good kids. Well, he chose the wife, so he can have a good, a good heir to his name. But the kid realizes that early on in his life, especially after the abuse that his mother has gotten from his father, realizes that even though he has both fire and ice powers, he will never use the fire power because his dad is a piece of shit. In a regular Naruto story, in a regular any other kind of anime, Bleach, whatever, that story alone would take 5 to 10 episodes. This shit was covered in an episode and a half. Not even a full episode, really. It just shows that the people writing this anime and manga really know what they're doing. I think it's worth watching something that doesn't bullshit your time, doesn't waste your time, doesn't spend 40 episodes to tell one story. Mainly, that's why I want you to watch this show, because if you are a purveyor of anime, if you love shows, if you love comic books, and you're trying to get into something new, watch the whole first season on Hulu or on Funimation, and then catch up to the second season, which is going on right now. And it's really fucking hilarious, and it's really good. If that sounds good to you, go watch the show. So that's what to watch. Hopefully you enjoyed me suggesting what animes you should watch that are either ongoing or have already come out yet. It doesn't exclusively have to be anime. It's more like animated shows. A little bit of both. For I am the Bushwick Nerd, and that is kind of what you really just need to know.